Lansing's only sports station. The Game, 7:30.
Let's play.
Welcome to Be the Referee with MHSAA registered official Paige Winnie.
We're on the softball diamond today for a You Make the Call. Runners are on the corners with no outs. The batter hits the first pitch in the air and into the foul territory near the first baseline. The runner on first interferes with the first basewoman attempting to make the catch, and the ball falls to the ground. What's the call? Is it the runner on first and the batter are out? The batter is out and the runner stays at first? Or the ball is dead immediately and the runner on first is out and the batter is charged with a foul ball? If you said the ball is dead immediately when the interference takes place and that the runner is out with the batter returning to the batter's box with a 1-strike count, you made the right call.
Thanks, Paige. You can be a referee. Go online now to register at MHSAA.com. Be the Referee is a part of the MHSAA network.
The Game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN.
And a good Saturday morning to everyone listening out there in mid-Michigan. I am Brock Palmbush. This is High School Rewind. This is the weekly show that recaps the week that was in boys and girls high school basketball. We'll be here until 11 o'clock, and got a good show for you. Lansing Catholic girls basketball coach Kacee Reid is going to be joining me in about 15 minutes or so. And then Brian Calloway, the prep sports editor of the Lansing State Journal, LSJ.com, will be coming up to recap everything with me, get his perspective on things. Today's show, not only today, but all season long of High School Rewind, brought to you by Jeff and Chris Metz and Doubting Industries. Doubting Industries, hey, if you're wondering what your future holds and you're not going to college or you found out college just isn't for you, check out the future that skilled trades can offer you. You'll be surprised. Check them out at doubtingindustries.com. And by the Lansing Sports Commission. No matter the sport, the Lansing Sports Commission can make your next event your best event. Plan on something greater. Find out more at lansingsports.org. Big week of action for both boys and girls basketball all around the mid-Michigan area. The game that you heard here on the Game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN, DeWitt at Grand Ledge. Boys basketball, DeWitt moving to 6-0 on the season. A big win at Grand Ledge last night, 60-50. DeWitt, a team that, well, we weren't sure how good they were going to be this year, losing their all-time leading scorer, Bryce Kearns, from last year's team. And yet, here we are, about a third of the way through the season, almost a quarter of the way through the season, and voila, DeWitt's 6-0 on the season. And they did it behind a really well-balanced well-balanced play by everybody. Adam Flannery, the coach's son, the son of head coach Bill Flannery, very good last night. 20 points, 6 rebounds, had a handful of assists as well, and he was helped by Zach Nevison's 13 points, and Elliot Larner also had 13 points as well. But John Amama, he only had 3 points on the night, but had 8 big rebounds. And Garrett Gruey struggled in the first half with foul trouble, but had a big second half, ended up with 6 points and 8 rebounds. Also a couple of block shots, and made every play they needed to make. And even though they were 9 for 18 from the free throw line for the game as a team, they hit 7 of 8 free throws in the final 2 minutes to put the game away against Grand Ledge. Grand Ledge was led by Elijah Hendricks. He had 18 points and 3 rebounds. Alex Moran added 15 as well, but nobody else in double figures. And so DeWitt 6-0 on the season on the boys' side. Grand Ledge falls to 4-2, but they'll play again later on in the season. About as big a surprise in boys basketball in the mid-Michigan area, other than DeWitt, is, as I move my microphone here, live radio, folks, happens sometimes, taking a look at the basketball from earlier this week. Okemos is another big surprise. Got to tell you, very surprised with how well they have played this season. They are undefeated as well. Taking a look at their record, yeah, they're 6-0, just like DeWitt is. And man, what a performance there by the Okemos Wolves. Off to a terrific start this year. They beat Everett on Thursday night, 62-45 behind the Walton brothers. That is Brennan Walton, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Colin Walton, 11 points, 8 rebounds. They are 6-0. They are 1-0 in the CAAC Blue, just like DeWitt. And yes, they play each other next Tuesday night. And yes, Eric Doc Love and I will be at DeWitt High School for Okemos at DeWitt. That's next Tuesday night. We'll hit the air right about 7 o'clock or so. So I think that's a real good matchup there for boys basketball early on in the season. Not sure either team's the best team in the area thus far. Still got to say East Lansing because they've blown everybody out so far, even though they've only played 3 games. But that should be a good ball game coming up next Tuesday night. Taking a look at some of the other boys' action from last night. Congratulations to St. John's. They got their first win of the season. They beat Eastern on the road 56-52. Sexton took care of Olivet last night. 62-50. Keyshawn Somerville, you've heard Brian Calloway talk about him on this show several times already this season. 19 points to lead Sexton in the victory. They are now 2-0 in league play, even though they're 2-3 overall. Charlotte off to a good start again, the defending league champions. They beat Lansing Catholic last night at home at the Oriole Dome, 60-49. Still the best place to watch a high school basketball game in the mid-Michigan area, the Oriole Dome in Charlotte. Just a fantastic venue. Cutler Branch, 25 points to lead Charlotte in the win. Ben Buzzard, double-double, 14 points and 13 rebounds for the Orioles. Portland victorious on the boys' side. They beat Ionia 41-32. Eaton Rapids won as well. Williamston rebounded from the tough loss to Lansing Catholic earlier in the week by beating Hazlitt at home 64-31. Zach Cribbs, 28 points to lead the Hornets. Ben Smith added 19 for the Hornets as well. PW, they're still right. They're right there in the CMAC. They took care of Saranac 61-42. Grady Eklund, the outstanding sophomore, he's off to a terrific start this season. But also Langsburg off to a terrific start as well. They're one of only 4 unbeaten teams in the mid-Michigan area, and Xander Woodruff led Langsburg to a 61-39 win over Potterville. He had 17 points. Cam Ballard had 15 as well. Xander Woodruff had a 41-point game earlier this week. I believe that was on Wednesday. And yes, it was, as he had 41 points in the victory over Fowler earlier this week. Mason, tough loss last Saturday in the Moneyball Tip-Off Classic, losing in overtime to Adrian in a tight ball game. But they were able to regroup from that loss to 71-70. Luke Marlin, a triple-double. 14 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, lost by 1 point. Again, 71-70. But again, they rebounded with a big win over Fowlerville on the road. Levi Stambaugh, 17 points. Caleb Parrish had 13. And Mason's just got a lot of weapons right now. Main thing is they got a full healthy squad that obviously affected them during the end of last season and into the state tournament. Got upset in the district finals, but they were without 2 players. Luke Marlin, torn ACL. Kaysen Carswell had a collarbone injury, and both those kids were out, but they're healthy now, and they're playing very well right now, and they are the unquestioned favorites to win the CAAC Red this season. Perry victorious was victorious last night. They're off to a good start. They're 5-1 on the season on the boys' side. Also, Fowler was victorious, and that's what we got there for boys basketball from last night. Taking a look at the girls' action from last night. We're going to talk with Kacee Reid, the head coach at Lansing Catholic. They won easily at Charlotte last night, 80-24. Gabby Hallowell, she had a really good week. She had 16 points against Williamston earlier in the week, leading them to the victory. She had 14 points, leading a balanced scoring attack against Charlotte on the road. Leah Richards, 10 points. Anna Richards, Tessa Rowe, each had 9 for Lansing Catholic. 2-1 on the season. They lost their season opener last Saturday to Detroit Renaissance, but have rebounded with a couple of wins there. Also want to congratulate Dansville senior guard Megan Zeitz. She crossed the 1,000-point plateau in Dansville's home victory over Lansing Christian, 40-32. She had 25 points to lead Dansville to the win. The Lady Aggies are undefeated right now. They're 3-0 on the season. They're 2-0 in league play. What a great career Megan Zeitz has had for Coach Mike Sykes. 1,000 points for any high school player is a big-time accomplishment. Congratulations to her. Saw DeWitt beat Grand Ledge in the game that before the game that we were doing. The boys' game before that, the girls played at 5:30, and then the boys' game plays at 7 o'clock or thereabouts. But it was DeWitt's backcourt again. Tara Kearns and Madison Ewell. Just terrific offensively. Tara Kearns, 24 points, 19 of them in the second half, and broke open a close game. Grand Ledge kept it competitive for about a half or so, but in the third quarter, Kearns, all 15 of DeWitt's points in quarter number 3. Bill McCullen told Brian Calloway in the Lansing State Journal, anytime you get a win on the road in the blue against one of your rivals, you feel pretty good about that. Had some spurts in the game where defensively we were very good and led to some easy baskets, and Tara Kearns was big time. Yeah, Maddie Ewell added 10 points for DeWitt. But again, Tara Kearns, 24 points, 19 of them in the second half. Congratulations to her. Portland off to a very good start as well. They are undefeated. They are 4-0 right now. They are 2-0 in league play. And they were victorious. I over on you 53-26. Lily Thalen, 14 points in the victory. I believe that's Malia Thalen. They must call her Lily. But she's off to a terrific start. She was a terrific player last year. Kayla Weber, 10 points as well for Portland. Portland, very, very good. They've rebuilt. They had a little bit of a down year last year as they were very young after the two great teams that they had the 2 years previous. Won a state title in the COVID year of 2021. The COVID season, that is. And then the following year, in 2022, lost to the eventual state champions in Detroit Edison in the quarterfinals. We're a bit down last year, but they seem to be back up again. And it looks like it's going to be Lansing Catholic and Portland in the CAAC. In the CAAC White this season. A team that a lot of people thought would be down this year. Well, we talked about it. A lot of people thought that, DeWitt and Okemos would be down, but they're off to terrific starts. A team on the girls' side was Holt, losing one of the best players in the school history in Janae Tyler, who's at Kent State right now. But they've got good guards. Rima Dozier, Claire Tobias, Allie Metzger, very, very good as well. Rima Dozier, 21 points in their big home win over Waverly last night. Metzger and Genevieve Nagel each had double-doubles. Identical stats last night. 11 points, 10 rebounds for Holt. Holt girls off to a good start as well. They're 3-1 on the season, which is a surprise to some. What isn't a surprise is Ovid Elsie. They were quarterfinalists last year in Division III, and they were led again by Ava Bates. 16 points, 4 steals. Ovid Elsie took care of New Lothrop, who's seemingly pretty good in everything in the Mid-Michigan Athletic Conference. And Braden Tokar, 14 points as well. Ovid Elsie and Coach Ryan Cunningham, that's Dr. Ryan Cunningham, they are off to a 5-0 start. I just never forget their outstanding defensive performance at Dansville last year to take care of the homestanding Aggies in the regional final. Also, Lakewood was victorious. Olivet victorious. Megan Priestman, 27 points to lead Olivet in the victory over Sexton. Morris over Genesee, 55-33. Aubrey Rogers, 21 points to lead the Orioles to the win there. And Williamston knocked off Hazlitt in a bit of an upset. 45-43. Williamston lost earlier in the week to Lansing Catholic, but they play Hazlitt at home, and they beat them 45-43. That is a bit of a surprise there. And right now, 2 games into the 10-game conference schedule, Williamston in the lead right now with a 2-0 league record in the CAAC Red. So that's pretty much what it was in this week. I do want to mention also Waverly. Talked about them. Waverly beat Holt in overtime on Thursday in boys basketball, and they were, again, victorious. And now my computer is messing up on me, but there we go. We got it going. Waverly in overtime over Holt, 64-56. Keenan Harris had a big game there. He had 16 points 8 of those points in overtime, in regulation, and in the fourth quarter, and then in overtime. Sophomore forward Derek Thomas, who's off to just a sensational start. He only had 13 points, and I say only because last week in their game at the Moneyball Tip-Off Classic, all he did was score 43. Yeah, he had 43 in their game last Saturday at the Moneyball Tip-Off Classic over at Hull High School, which I understand was just a terrific event. And and they beat Sexton 88-82 in overtime there, and 43 points for Derek Thomas II. Wow. So we're going to continue to watch him, and we will we'll be seeing Waverly later on in the season in boys basketball. And but coming up on the other side of this break, Kacee Reid, the veteran head coach of the Lansing Catholic Cougars, the reigning and defending Division III champions in girls basketball. She's coming up on the other side of this break. You're listening to High School Rewind on the game 730 AM WVFN and the Lansing Sports Network, and it is brought to you by Dowding Industries and by the Lansing Sports Commission.
Here are 5 good reasons for high school multi-sport participation. Fewer overuse injuries, less opportunity for emotional burnout, exposure to different kids and coaches, exposure to different roles, and learning to compete better. Being a multi-sport participant can help a kid become a more well-rounded person. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green. Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. Now that's living healthy and green. Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
WVFN.
Welcome back to High School Rewind on the game 730 AM WVFN, the show recapping the week that was in boys and girls basketball. Still trying to reach Coach Kacee Reid, the 11th year head coach for Lansing Catholic, the Lady Cougars, off to a good start this season. And one of the things she was talking about with the Lansing State Journal earlier this week, it isn't just any one player. We knew that Lansing Catholic was going to be good this year with just about everybody back from last year's state championship team. And it showed on Tuesday night. We know about the Richards sisters, Anna and Leah, and they've been terrific, their entire careers, and now in their senior season. But now other players are stepping forward. Gabby Hallowell, 16 points against Williamson. She was absolutely on fire in the first half. She scored all 16 of her points in the first half, which really set the tone for the game, got them out to a big lead, and they were able to coast and win pretty easily at home over Williamston. And then last night against Charlotte, they blew out Charlotte 80-24. And again, balanced scoring attack. Gabby Hallowell, 14 points to lead Lansing Catholic in that victory. And, last year, of course, won the state championship. They upset Hazlitt in the district championship, and then they were able to beat Redford Westfield Prep in the quarterfinals after getting through the regional tournament as well. And that game was at Chelsea High School, and then they got to the Breslin Center and took care of business there and won the state championship. Hard to believe Reid is in her 11th season. So we're trying to get in touch with her, and hopefully she can join us. We know Brian Calloway is going to be joining me here in just a little bit, and get his views on things. But the thing that's really surprising to me, talked about the undefeated teams on the boys' side. DeWitt 6-0, Okemos 6-0 on the season, East Lansing 3-0 on the season. Their schedule is going to be backloaded. They're going to be playing a lot of games in January and February. A little bit lighter schedule. They are playing over the holidays in an invitational, but it's DeWitt, Okemos, East Lansing, and Langsburg. Those are the only undefeated teams in the area. Langsburg 5-0, of course, they're led by Xander Woodruff. Other than that, there's a lot of parity, too. There's a lot of teams with just one loss on the season. Waverly, one loss on the season. Everett is 3-1 on the year. Taking a look at it, Charlotte's 4-1 so far. Portland is 4-1 so far. Perry, 5-1 so far. And you mentioned Langsburg being undefeated. Pewamo Westphalia, 4-1 on the season. Their only loss was to Langsburg at home in overtime. So they're looking good. And Ovid Elsie is 3-0 on the or 3-1 rather on the season. On the girls' side, they've played a couple of fewer games than the boys because they started a week later. But DeWitt undefeated at 4-0. Portland undefeated at 4-0. And Bath is undefeated at 3-0. Dansville undefeated at 3-0. And also Ovid Elsie, they're undefeated. They are 5-0. So we got a lot of parity in the Mid-Michigan area. Not that for this early in the season, and we've played about quarter of the season on the boys, a little bit less than that for the girls, but that's not very many undefeated teams. You'd figure there would be a lot more this early in the season. Just shows a lot of competition, a lot of parity in between for both boys and girls basketball. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we got a busy day coming up here on the on the game 7:30 AM WVFN. Town Square Media family of stations. After I'm done here at 11 o'clock, it is the Sports Life with Will Tiemann and Dalton Shetler. At 1 o'clock, 1240 WJIM, Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ. It's Michigan State men's basketball playing Baylor down at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. And also here on WVFN, we will have the first of the NFL triple headers today. NFL's got a triple header today. That will be the Cincinnati Bengals against the Minnesota Vikings. That'll hit the air at 12:30. So that's what we got there. Then coming up at 6 o'clock here on the game, 7:30 AM WVFN and Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ. Nachos and kneecaps before the big Detroit Lions game against the Denver Broncos. We'll have nachos and kneecaps from 6 until 7:10, and then the Lions will join with network coverage at 7:10. Again, here on the game, 7:30 a.m. and Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ. And over on 1240 WJIM at 6:45 tonight, it is Detroit Red Wings hockey. They're at the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. Red Wings trying to break a skid right now. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games, but you'll hear that on 1240 WJIM. So busy day here on the Town Square Media family of stations. Brian Calloway still set to join us here on the game 7:30 a.m. WVFN, and he will in about 10 minutes or so. But yeah, a lot of parity, a lot of really, really good teams. I mean, on the boys' side, you got to believe East Lansing's, the best team so far. They've just been absolutely dominant so far. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are wondering, I did top 10 polls for high school football throughout the season from week 2 on until the end of the year. Those polls will return coming up next week. Monday, probably the boys' poll, top 10 poll, and Tuesday will be the girls' top 10 poll. And it's just who I think are the 10 best teams in the Mid-Michigan area in the in boys and girls basketball. A lot of good teams, so the first poll will be very, very difficult. We'll do that next week, and then take a break until after the holiday break, and then we'll do it on a weekly basis after the new year. So be January 8th probably. Yeah, January 8th and 9th we will restart the poll. So the next, the first poll of the season will be the last one of the calendar year, and then it will be on a weekly basis starting on January 8th. So that's what's coming up here. And don't forget, next Tuesday night, we will have Okemos at DeWitt in boys basketball. We'll hit the air at 7 o'clock or so. Myself and Eric Doc Love from DeWitt High School. Okemos 6-0 on the season at DeWitt, who's 6-0 on the year. We'll take a timeout and we'll come back. This is High School Rewind on the game 7:30 a.m. WVFN, your trusted source for high school sports coverage.
Welcome to Be the Referee with the MHSAA's Director of Officials, Sam Davis.
We're on the baseball diamond today for a You Make the Call. Here's the situation. Runners are on the corners with 2 outs. The batter hits a long home run. The runner on first base misses second base, and the infraction is properly appealed by the defense. How many runs scored on the play? If you said none, you got it right. Even if the runner on third crosses home plate before the other runner missed second, no runs count. A run is not scored if the preceding runner is declared out upon appeal for failure to touch one of the bases, or they left too soon on a caught fly ball. A potential 3-run homer is now no runs and the end of the inning.
Thanks, Sam. You can be a referee. Go online now to register at MHSAA.com. Be the Referee is a production of the MHSAA Network.
.org.
Lansing Sports Leader, the game, 7:30 a.m.
Welcome back to High School Rewind on the game 7:30 a.m. WVFN, brought to you by the Lansing Sports Commission and by Dowding Industries. We're happy to be joined a little bit earlier than we normally do, 10:34. Usually he's on a little bit later than this. But Brian Calloway, the prep sports editor of the Lansing State Journal, LSJ.com, joining me for his weekly segment. And Brian, first of all, good morning. How you doing?
Good. You're not bad. How are you?
Good. I've been talking about it. Eric and I talked about this last night during the DeWitt Grand Ledge broadcast. A lot of parity in this area. A lot on the girls' side, a lot on the boys' side. If you take East Lansing out, because East Lansing has shown far and away that they're the best team in the area, at least so far this season. That could potentially change, but only 4 undefeated teams in the mid-Michigan area on the boys' side right now. DeWitt 6-0, Okemos 6-0, mentioned East Lansing at 3-0, and Langsburg at 5-0. There's a lot of one-loss teams, but surprised those are the only undefeated teams right now. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, and you look at a lot of these teams. Some of them have gone out and played some pretty good competition as well, too.
True.
You look at Waverly, and they've always, generally played a pretty difficult schedule and challenged themselves against teams under Coach Rod Watts. And then you obviously look at, Mason has that loss that they had at the Moneyball Tip-Off Classic last weekend, where they lost in overtime. And obviously they're a team that's expected to be good. But I think kind of what you said bodes true. When you kind of look at some of the results that we've seen take place, Sexton, and Charlotte kind of look right now to maybe be the top teams in the CAAC White. But
probably.
Just kind of based on what we've seen. But, Sexton, has a losing record on the season, and they played some tough competition as well, too. So I just think there's a lot of teams that have went out and tested themselves. But, you look at those 3 teams from the Blue that you mentioned. 2 of them play each other on Tuesday night in DeWitt and Okemos.
Yep.
So that number's going to shrink and go down to at least 3, by the time the middle of next week hits as well, too. But, I just think the CAAC Blue is going to be interesting, and no one's going to emerge out of that league unscathed, just kind of based on teams in that league.
Maybe even East Lansing, who's just been terrific so far. They could get tripped up in the CAAC Blue. Who the heck knows? Brian Calloway joining me on the High School Rewind. The CAAC Red, you got to think Mason is the favorite right now. They're looking really, really good. They're 4-1 on the season. Just a 1-point loss to Adrian at the Moneyball Invitational. But the main thing is they've got everybody healthy right now, and Coach Lee Chaney is very happy about that.
Yeah, that is definitely the main thing, considering that, pretty much since early February of last season, I mean, that was when they, kind of got bit by the injury bug a little bit with, obviously, Kacee Carswell going down that early February weekend, and then they losing Luke Marlon, which are, two of their top players right there going down. And, so, yeah, I think it's for them, being able to be at full strength right now with, both Marlon and Carswell back on the court, and then having Caleb Parrish with them as well, too, and him coming off the injury from football. I just think that's a big thing for this team going forward, and kind of building that chemistry again as well, too, because obviously they have pretty much everybody back from their team last year that, won 21 games or so and had one of the best seasons in program history as well, too. So I think they have an opportunity to build on that. Williamston's going to be an interesting team in the league. Obviously, they lost to Lansing Catholic earlier this week, but then they went out and blew out Hazlitt last night as well, too. So, I mean, they could be a factor in the race as well, too.
Yep, absolutely. In the CMAC, Langsburg leading right now. What a performance by Xander Woodruff earlier this week in their win over, it was Fowler. He had 41 points in their victory there. They've already got a win at Pewamo, Westphalia right now. You got to think they're the leaders. They're the favorite right now. 4-0 in league play already. 5-0 overall. And even though they just got a new coach right before the season started, right before practice started, they don't seem to be missing a beat right now. Obviously, things can change, but they look real good right now.
No, they do. They do look really good. And, obviously, Xander Woodruff surpassing 1,000 career points earlier this season as well, too. And he's had a number of big performances this season so far. I mean, I think, when he scored, I think he had 15 or 17 last night against Potterville, which is, pretty low for his standards.
Right.
Kind of based on the production that he's, displayed so far this season. But, yeah, I mean, Langsburg has definitely looked pretty good under Coach Tim Beebe, who has obviously stepped in and done a pretty good job so far in the early stages of the season here.
Brian Calloway, prep sports editor of the Lansing State Journal, LSJ.com. Got to talk about the game we did last night, DeWitt at Grand Ledge. Good ball game. 2-point game at the half, but then DeWitt, this is simple analysis. They just played a little bit better than Grand Ledge did in the second half, and even though they struggled from the free throw line, 9 for 18 as a team, they hit 7 of 8 in the final couple of minutes, and that really clinched the game. Adam Flannery was terrific all night long. Zach Nevison, very good as well, and they hit some big-time shots there. Matt Hune, only one basket in the game, but it was huge. It gave him a 7-point lead or 7 or 8 point lead, and it forced a Grand Ledge timeout. Other guys stepped forward too. Elliot Larner, Garrett Gruey was better in the second half as well, and just a very good performance by DeWitt. And 10-point win at Grand Ledge. Anytime you get a road win in the CAAC Blue, it's big time.
Oh yeah, it definitely is big time, and I think I thought that DeWitt did a pretty decent job defensively as well, too. I mean, Braden James is a pretty talented sophomore, and, I mean, they pretty much made him a non-factor in that game. Challenged the shots at the rim. I mean, I think James only had 3 points in that game, and he didn't score until the middle stages of the third quarter on the free throw, and then I think he had a basket inside, but he really didn't do much. And Elijah Hendricks, got off to a very strong start early at 8 points, but then the rest of the final 3 quarters, I think he had 10 points combined through the final 3 quarters as well, too. So I felt like they kind of limited what he was able to do as well, too, and didn't let him go off as well, too. So, I mean, I think that was definitely big for him. And you mentioned the Matt Hune shot. I mean, that was at a big point during the game when, DeWitt was starting to stretch things out a little bit and was on a little bit of a run. And for him to knock down that open 3, I mean, that was, a big momentum play for DeWitt, which ended up leading by as much as 12 there in the second half before, getting that 10-point win on the road over a Grand Ledge team that I think is going to be one of the ones to watch in the mix in the CAAC Blue. All
right, on to girls basketball. Congratulations to Dansville guard Megan Zeitz. She had 24 points last night and crossed the 1,000-point plateau. She's just been terrific the last 2 seasons. DeWitt leading, the CMAC right now, 3-0 overall. They're 2-0 in league play. She has just been terrific throughout her career. 1,000 career points for any high school player is a big-time accomplishment. Congratulations to her.
No, yeah, definitely a big-time accomplishment for Megan Zeitz. And she's, we talked about Xander Woodruff being off to a pretty torrid start from a scoring perspective, and she's been the equivalent of that on the girls' side with what she's been able to do. I think she had 32 in the win over Perry earlier this week, and then the 25 points last night as well too. I mean, that's pretty darn good start to the season. I think she needed 80 points or 82 points going into the season to be able to reach 1,000, and she's got that in just 3 games total this season for Dansville as well too. So that just kind of speaks to how well that she's performed in the early stages of the season for Dansville.
I'll have to check out and see. I mean, I don't know this, but I'm almost certain that Lindsey Bowen's their all-time leading scorer. Of course, the great Dansville guard who ended up at Michigan State and had a great career there, played in the WNBA, and she's an assistant coach somewhere in the college.
She was at Campbell.
That's right, Campbell.
Time that I remember.
Yep. Of course, she's one of the all-time greats ever at Michigan State, and I got to find out what her high school totals were, because Megan, if it's not. I mean, if it's over 2,000 points, Zeitz isn't going to get that. But if it's anywhere like 1,300 or even close to 1,500, Megan Zeitz has a chance at it if she keeps going the way she's going. All right, before I let you go, DeWitt Grand Ledge girls basketball. DeWitt off to a terrific start again, and it's that backcourt again of Madison Ewell and Tara Kearns, who had a big second half to break open a close game against Grand Ledge. Grand Ledge a bit down this year, but they kept it competitive for a half. But Tara Kearns took over in the second half.
Yeah, Tara Kearns. Very big second half there. I mean, she had all 15 of DeWitt's points in the third quarter alone, and then finished with 19 points in the second half of her 24. But yeah, I mean that guard combination. I mean, those two are really going to drive DeWitt and what they're able to do. And one of the things that Coach Bill McCullen pointed out last night is hey, we pretty much lost half of our team from last year's team that won a league title and was reached the regional final before falling to. From Hope. So, I mean, they had a lot of pieces to replace, and, there's new girls stepping into new roles, but they have to be encouraged by the start that they've gotten off to so far with, being undefeated and getting those league play started with the victory as well, too. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that, that's for sure.
All right, Kacee Reid has just contacted me. We're gonna get her on the air before, so we'll cut this a little bit short. I would ask you about Lansing Catholic, but we'll save that for next week because we're gonna have Lansing Catholic's coach Kacee Reid on coming up on the other side of this break. Thanks so much, Brian. We'll talk to you same time, same station next week.
Hey, sounds good, Brock. Thanks for having me.
All right. Brian Calloway, prep sports editor of the Lansing State Journal. We'll take a time out and come back, and we will. We just got in contact with Kacee Reid, the veteran coach of Lansing Catholic. She's going to join me on the other side of this break. On the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. This is High School Rewind, brought to you by Dowding Industries and by the Lansing Sports Commission.
Hello, car of teenagers. If you don't mind, I'm only going to broadcast this out of the speaker on the passenger side so we can talk without the driver listening in. Okay, now that we're alone, we can talk about your friend's driving. It's okay, he can't hear us. Now, I'd never say this to his face, but he might be the worst driver in the history of the world. You should say something witty. Make a joke about the airbag or something. Hearses are funny, too. You could make a joke about hearses. I better say something to the driver real quick so he doesn't get suspicious that we're talking about him. Still talking to the passenger. Not about you at all. Just going to be one more minute. He is totally going to get you killed.
Find other interesting ways to speak up against reckless driving by visiting our website at speakuporelse.com. Because it doesn't matter what you say, just say something. Brought to you by the Ad Council and speakuporelse.com.
Where can you find good information on all kinds of topics related to the well-being of our student athletes? Check out the health and safety page of the MHSAA website. Learn about multi-sport participation, heat and hydration, cardiovascular resources, as well as insurance benefits available for our students. It's all on the health and safety page of MHSAA.com. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
Lansing Sports Station, the game, 7:30 a.m.
Welcome back to High School Rewind on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. Brought to you by Doubting Industries and by the Lansing Sports Commission. The Lansing Sports Commission, no matter the sport, the Lansing Sports Commission can make your next event your best event. Plan on something greater. Find out more at lansingsports.org. And by Doubting Industries. Always that's Jeff and Chris Metz at Doubting Industries. Always interested in individuals that have the drive and desire to be successful in work and in life. Check them out at doubtingindustries.com. You may find a successful future here. There is action today around the mid-Michigan area involving area teams. Just 2 games on the boys' side. Waverly is at Canton. They got to go down to Plymouth to play that game at Canton High School. And also Lansing Sexton, the J-Dubs, they are at the Maroons of Kalamazoo Central. They're playing today. And on the girls' side, there are 3 area games involving area teams. East Lansing is at Flushing, Grand Rapids Union is at Sexton, and Weberville is at Potterville. Those are the games that are going on today. Coming up at 11 o'clock, we've got the Sports Life with Will Tiemann and Dalton Shetler. We've got a lot of stuff going on today on the Town Square Media family of radio stations. At 1 o'clock, 1240 WJIM, Classic Rock 94.9 WMMQ. That is Michigan State and Baylor playing men's basketball down at Little Caesars Arena. And we'll tell you more about that coming on. But I believe we are joined by the 11th year head coach for Lansing Catholic girls basketball. I believe this. Kacee Reid, is that you?
That is me. I am so sorry.
That's
yes,
okay.
I am here.
First of all, I doing a little research. This your 11th year? That's not possible.
I know. My 11th year at Lansing Catholic, it's pretty crazy. It's been that long.
Well, what's not so crazy is how good your team is so far this season. You're 2-1 on the season. You lost to Detroit Renaissance last Saturday to open the last weekend to open the regular season. But you've rebounded with a couple of good wins this week. You beat Williamston at home on Tuesday night, the game that I was at, and then won easily last night at Charlotte in your conference opener, 80-24. And, we know all about the Richards sisters, Anna and Leah, and they've had terrific careers. But other players have stepped forward, and I talked about it. Gabby Hallowell, she's off to a terrific start this season. Man, she was on fire against Williamston. All 16 points that she scored in the game were in the first half. That set you up for a pretty easy win.
Yes, absolutely. Gabby is just she is just playing at such a high level right now. You can see all of the maturity from our seniors. Like you said before, we have 9 seniors on our team, and it's just really it's really fun to watch Gabby put it all together. Last night against Charlotte, she had 14 and she had 8 assists to go with it.
There you go.
She's distributing the ball at a high level. She's shooting at a high level, and it's really fun to see.
I saw that you told, I believe, Brian Calloway or the Lansing State Journal after the win on Tuesday night against Williamston that the thing that you like about this team, that you really like about this team, is that they don't care who scores the points. If somebody's hot one night, you just get them the ball. And like Gabby Hallowell, you just get her the ball, and then we'll worry about our own points later on. If like Leah or Anna Richards or somebody else is off to a good game, you just feed them the ball and let them score. And it doesn't seem like that, hey, I'm not getting the ball, I'm upset, I'm not happy. It doesn't seem like that's happening with your squad.
Not at all. And, a lot of it, I've said this before, we feel like we have a great number of kids that would be a superstar on a lot of teams around here who could carry a team by themselves. But these kids from day one have just bought in to playing team ball. And absolutely, anybody can get hot on any night. You will not see anybody sulking. Everybody's cheering for each other. And I think it makes this really difficult to prepare for a lot of times. When we take something away or take someone away, someone else is just ready to step up into that hole. So that's the plan. They bought in so far, and it's been working to some degree for us for sure.
Coach Kacee Reid, the 11th year head coach for Lansing Catholic girls basketball, the reigning and defending Division 3, Division 2?
Division II, yeah.
I see. I said Division III earlier. I see how quickly I forget. Division II champions. The only reason I mentioned that is because, it's always nice to mention. But, Carlton Valentine, the great coach at Sexton, I thought he handled success better than any other high school coach that I can possibly think of. After he won those state titles in 2011 and 2012 with his son and Bryn Forbes and Jalen Hayes and all those guys that were just tremendous, he handled success perfectly. He enjoyed the spoils of victory until school got out in June. And then once school got out in June, click. On to the next season, on to summer conditioning, on to off-season conditioning, on to the next season. How long did you celebrate that state championship victory, and when did it turn off and say, okay, that was great, I've got memories for a lifetime, but it's on to next season?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we try to model Coach V anytime we can around here, but yeah, I would say definitely the first day of summer basketball.
Gotcha.
That was our message right away, is that this is a new team. And even though we have a lot of team members back, everyone's different. I mean, I'm a different person than I was last year, and we're going to have different ups and downs and different adversities. And in addition to losing some of the seniors in Hannah Preco, we are different, and we're going to have different opponents that create some different adversities for us. So it is a new year. And honestly, I know every coach loves their team, and they should, and they get to know their kids, but this group of girls are so humble, and they have such a great head on their shoulders. They all understand that this is a new year, and right now we're 2-1 this year. We are not state champs this year. It is a whole new season for us, and we got a lot of work to do.
Well, Coach, talking about the state championship, as I was at the game the other night, no banners up for the state championship. You got all the state championship banners for football and boys basketball, the one from 2008, which was incredible. All the other sports, golf, wrestling, you name it, but nothing for the girls basketball from last year. When's that? There's got to be a banner raising ceremony. When's that going to happen?
Yeah, we do. We have one scheduled. We've got it January 12th, I believe.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's our Lakewood. It's a doubleheader conference match at home, and we'll get the seniors that graduated. They're going to come back, and we'll have a ceremony for the raising of it. But it's definitely going to get up there. Good.
So looking forward here in the CAAC White, after a couple of down years, after their 2 great seasons, with all the players that Portland had a couple of years ago. They were a little bit down last year because they were young, but now those young players are getting older, led by Malia Thalen, who is just terrific. They look to be your main competition in the CAAC White, as well as Lakewood, who's off to a decent start as well.
Yes, Portland is just loaded. They've got, they roll 5 in, 5 out a lot of times. They got a deep bench. The kids play so hard. Jason does such a great job with them. But they've got shooters. They got kids who can get to the rim. They got post players. They definitely are a big opponent for us. They're going to be very tough for us to compete with. And then, like you said, Lakewood, I've only watched a couple videos of them. They definitely got some pieces to make things work, and so does Olivet. They're a lot of these teams like the full court press and get in your face and double team, and so definitely going to have to be prepared for a lot of our league opponents this year.
Kacee Reid, the 11th year head coach for Lansing Catholic, joining me on High School Rewind. One of the things I respect, and I've said this to a lot of girls basketball coaches around this area, regardless if it's the CAAC blue, red, white, or CMAC, it doesn't matter. Or schools like Ovid Elsie, you're not afraid to play anybody. I mean, in the mid-Michigan area, you've seen like East Lansing and other schools in the CAAC blue play top teams like Fowler and Portland St. Patrick in regular season play. We've seen Portland play top-level teams like East Lansing, and it's amazing that how fearless the girls basketball teams and their coaches are. You're not afraid to play anybody in this area.
No, I think, I would say you're right. A lot of coaches do have that mentality, and I think it works well for everyone in the end when it comes down to late February. But, we've got, I know just for us from non-league opponents, we're playing Frankenmuth, we're playing Rockford, we played Renaissance, we've got Lowell, we've got Father Gabriel Richard next week. Those are all ranked. Right now, every single one of those teams is ranked. And then in addition, now we've got all of these local teams. We got Holt, Williamston, Hazlitt, obviously Portland twice. So we are absolutely have a loaded schedule. But yeah, I mean, I think that's another piece of my team and maybe my parents and our community is that we're not afraid to lose. We know it's okay to lose. As long as we're learning and getting better from it. And I think that's probably the mentality of a lot of the coaches around here. Definitely something I believe in.
Oh, absolutely. My goodness. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of the best things about this area, especially in the girls basketball. Coach Reid, congratulations on the start so far. Appreciate you coming on. We finally got connected there. You had practice this morning?
We do Saturday shoot-arounds. They get to play their music. We bring bagels. It's just a kind of what if we lose on Friday night, it's a way for us to kind of clean the slate and get ready for the next week. And if we win, it's a kind of a time for us to celebrate. So we take an hour every Saturday to get together and eat and shoot and play some music. So, yeah.
All right, Coach Kacee Reid in her 11th season. I still can't believe that's even possible with Coach Reid.
Right.
Coach, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm sure we will talk to you later on in the season. And you never know, we might be doing a game later on this season. Never know.
That'd be great. We'd love to see you. Thanks so much, Brock. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach Kacee Reid joining me on High School Rewind on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. As I was mentioning, the schedule for later today, after I'm done here in a minute and a half, it is the Sports Life with Will Tiemann and Dalton Shetler at 12:30 here on WVFN. NFL football. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals and the Minnesota Vikings. That's what we've got here at 12:30. And then at 6 o'clock here on the game, 7:30 a.m. and Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ. It is Nachos and Kneecaps. That's 6 to 7:10 before network coverage of the Detroit Lions and the Denver Broncos. Over on 1240 WJIM, Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ, Michigan State men's basketball. They are playing Baylor today, 1 o'clock pregame, and it's with a 2 o'clock tip-off from Little Caesars Arena. And then at 6:45, it's Red Wings hockey at the Philadelphia Flyers. That's what we got today. Want to thank Brian Calloway, Prep Sports Editor of the Lansing State Journal. Also want to thank Kacee Reid for joining me on late notice a little bit, but we appreciate her coming on, and I'm sure we'll talk to her later on this season. Coming up Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, it's DeWitt. It's DeWitt hosting Okemos in boys basketball. We'll have it here on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN at 7 o'clock. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
WWVFN East Lansing, a town square media station. The game, 7:30 a.m. Lansing's only sports station.
This is the Sports Life.
Hawkins backing his man down, has the height advantage on Gainey. Now to Guerrier, open three is good. Yes, sir. Quincy Guerrier gives Illinois the lead.
Braden Smith from the right elbow, shoots and misses. He's missed two in a row. Rebounded Mason Gillis. Out to Colvin for a three. Oh!